Welcome back to the 18th episode of Bullpen Talk. Crazy, we're on our 18th episode. I'm here with my co-host Justin Kornblum, and then a special guest, Daniel Zamora, a former MLB pitcher. So, welcome to the podcast, Daniel.
Thank you guys. Appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, so just to start off, we'd love to get some background on you, just your playing days, baseball from college to the MLB.
Yeah. Simply, I'm from California. Didn't really get many looks in California, so I ended up getting a scholarship to go play baseball at Stony Brook in Long Island, New York. So traveled across the country, played college baseball there. We had a great time. We had a good team. Ended up getting drafted in the 40th round by the Pirates. That was an uphill battle itself. Played 10 seasons professionally through all like start at short season, worked my way up to AAA. Got called up by the Mets in 2018. I got traded from the Pirates to the Mets in the 2017, 2018 offseason. Ended up getting called up by the Mets in August of that year and just kind of floated around for a little bit, played 4 years with the Mets and then went to the Mariners and the Dodgers. Back to the Pirates. I played in Indianapolis in AAA for a little bit, got hurt, um, and then I became a jail deputy for 1 year and got a call to go back to play baseball. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. So I went to Mexico last year, and that was my final season, played in Tijuana.
That's awesome. That's a crazy story in itself, right there.
Yeah, that's the
Oh,
shortest way I can put that without like I can probably go for years about this whole journey, but yeah, that's the easiest way I could put that.
so wild in itself that you moved from Cali to Long Island, New York. How was that transition? And then also, how was that D1 experience playing in a school where it's like 30 degrees till about April?
Yeah, that's funny because like I went when I was being recruited by Stony Brook, my college pitching coach and my high school pitching coach, they've coached together in the past. So like some people from my high school and from my area, they end up getting a decent amount of California guys. Um, and they get you pretty good. They tell you, yeah, it doesn't really snow here. It's like it's only cold for like a month or two, and you're gone for that anyway. Like at home training for a Christmas break. I'm like, okay, so it's not gonna be that bad. My first year there, there's like a blizzard, two hurricanes. I'm like, holy moly, what did I sign up for? But it was cool because I got there in 2013, and the year before that, Stony Brook went to the College World Series. So I was kind of just the guy that got to like reap the benefits of that and be like, oh yeah, I'm going to Stony Brook, and people were like, yeah, that's sick. You're going to Stony Brook. That's a great program. So I love my time there. My teammates were great. The coaching staff was awesome. Um, but I mean, I don't think I could have made a better decision.
Yeah. How are those expectations, especially coming off going to a College World Series, like going into college? How are those expectations coming off such a successful season?
Yeah, so I mean, they definitely set the standard high. The cool thing is that they went to the College World Series the year before. The con to that was because they were so good, so many guys got drafted and ended up, signing. And I'm happy for them. That's great. But we also had to do like a little reset ourselves.
Yeah.
Um, but that reset was a little bit easier for us because the bar was set so high. So we had to kind of meet that bar. We're like, hey, like the program's been to the College World Series. Like we're gonna shoot for the same thing. Like we
Yeah.
can get there too. Didn't get there my freshman year. We had, I think, of our starting nine, I think seven of them are freshmen. Sophomore year, I'm gonna be honest, was a little bit of a blur for me. I know we had a really good team. We ended up losing in the conference championship. But I had shoulder surgery that year.
Okay.
So kind of I was with the team, but I'm also rehabbing, and trying to kind of balance all that part of my life out. And then junior year, for me, I was a little bit more present, just because I was able to play and pitch and actually contribute to the team. And we ended up winning the conference championship that year. Played at regionals in TCU, and we were a three seed. Um, Had a really good opportunity to do something, and just came a little bit short.
Yeah.
And what was your biggest takeaway from that journey of deciding to go to a small school like Stony Brook and then eventually getting drafted? Like, what do you think you benefited from, like being able to, go to a school like that and also compete at the D1 level?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I just wanted to play right away. Wherever I was going to go to school, I didn't do showcases or perfect game or anything like that. So like wherever I wanted to go, one, I wanted to play right away. Two, like I wanted to like the people I was working with, and I was gonna like my coaching staff and all that. And Coach Marin came out, and I'm like, yeah, this is like I'm pretty sure I signed a scholarship like the day he showed up. Like in my head, like I was like, I didn't even really think much about it. The day I met him, I'm like, this is the guy I want to coach me next. So sorry, my phone's ringing. But leaving California to go to Stony Brook, like I picked my coaches at that moment. Like I was like, these are the people I want to play for. I want Coach Marin to be my next pitching coach. And that I mean it was a pretty easy decision for me.
Yeah. And then how was that transition from going to such a small school to being drafted and going to the minors, MLB? Just like, dang, like
Yeah.
dating.
Um, there's a few ways I kind of look at that. Like I got drafted in the last round. Like there's 40 rounds back then. That's gonna make me sound kind of old right now, but
Yeah.
now there's 20. So I wouldn't get a chance in today's game. Um, but that transition was is difficult because I'm going from a starting role to the bullpen, so I had to learn how to do that. But also like when you get drafted in the last round, and what pretty much once you get drafted later than like the fifth round, your chances aren't as high because they're not as invested in you. They'll give you opportunities, of course, but like you really have to take advantage of those opportunities. So it's like, how do I separate? The hard part for me was separating like how am I going to develop, but also how am I going to succeed on the field? And like, because when you work on one thing, you have to know that that's going to work. Otherwise, um, you could be putting your eggs in the wrong basket and not get any more opportunities because you just have so few. Um, but honestly, you just kind of got to take the opportunity. As like I got a jersey to put on. I'm going to go out there every day, compete, and just be the best version of myself every day. And that's kind of all you can really do at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge accolade in itself. Like you mentioned, being drafted in the 40th round and then being able to say that you pitched in the major league. So like, what do you think got you through that grind from being, like you said, an underinvested player and getting drafted in the like 40th round? Like, what do you think separated yourself? Was it your mentality, your effort, or your preparation that ultimately got you that big league shot?
Um, there's one thing that like really stood out when I look like my pitching coach Matt Ford, and he was my pitching coach pretty much the entire time I was with the Pirates. Short season, low A, high A. He just said, "You never know who's watching. You never know who's watching." And I'm like, "That's a good point." Like, if that opportunity might not come from the Pirates, then I can at least make a case for myself with other teams. And um, just understanding that, like, hey, the Pirates have me right now, but you just don't know who's watching. So do the right things, put the work in, keep your head on it, keep your head on your shoulders, and just keep chugging along one day at a time. Eventually got me traded to the Mets. And that's when Frank Viola became my pitching coach in Double A. And started off a little slow, just changing scenery. But Frank's just like, he made it really easy. He was just like, hey, man, your stuff plays and you're going to be really good at this level. Like, just keep going. He just kept reiterating me, your stuff plays, your stuff plays. And that just kept like, just reminding myself, hey, you're good enough to be here.
Yeah. And then was there a certain point in your baseball journey where you were like to yourself, like, I could really make the major league and make a career out of this possibly?
Um, no, it kind of just happened, to be honest. That wasn't really my focus that entire time. It was the goal was like the big overall goal was to be like, hey, I want to be a big leaguer. This is what I want to do. That was the overall goal at the beginning, but like you have to control what you can. You can't just be like, I want to be a big leaguer today. That's going to drive you nuts.
Yeah.
Um, because it's much back then, it's a much more like longer process to get to the big leagues. You got to make your way through the levels and put the reps in, and show that you can pitch at each level that you're at. Um, so I never once thought about like making it a career. It just it simply just happened, and I just kept putting the work in every single day, one day at a time, and kind of just stayed where my feet were.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to go off that, with that mentality, were you ever like, oh shit, like I now have the opportunity to like actually go be a major league player. Like my stuff is that good. When was that? Like when about what time did you start like realizing that you do have the ability to go and do it?
The day they made the phone call. And so the day I got the call, I was actually I got called up from Double A that year. So I was in Binghamton with the Mets in Double A, and I got my goal was just to get to Triple A because Triple A is in Vegas, and my family hasn't. I'm from California, just a quick 4 hour drive. I'm like, my family hasn't seen me play in years. I'd love for them to be able to come out and watch me. So I was just trying to get Triple A that year. Um, and then I got a phone call from my manager, Luis Rojas, who's now third base coach for the Yankees. He's like, hey, Zamora, pack your bags. You're going up. I'm like, oh, sick. Triple A. No, you're going to the big leagues, dude. I'm like, holy moly.
That's awesome.
It's just a pure panic mode for like, they told me like 9 o'clock at night. My flight was at 4 a.m.
Oh, wow.
So, um, pure panic mode, pack up my apartment, get things going, and hop on a flight.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean, just how
crazy.
was that? I mean, how was that experience in itself? Just like I bet. I mean, just a mix of emotions. Moving, packing up your stuff, and then walking to the big league clubhouse the next day.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely it was completely unexpected on my end. Just as I said, I always stay where my feet were. I never tried to assume what was going to happen next. Um, I just focused on myself at that point, like one day at a time. Like I truly held to that. And going from a double A clubhouse to the major league clubhouse in Philadelphia was insane. I remember like 3 years prior in 2015, I'm watching DeGrom pitch in the World Series on my TV. I'm like, now he's my teammate. This is sick. um, and it's kind of surreal for a little bit of it, but also like I'm there to do a job, and I have to remember that. And my job was to get outs, and um, at least at that point, I did what I was supposed to do and took care of what I was supposed to, and was able to turn that into something where this can last a little bit longer than what I had initially thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
And
I
then
go
was there
off.
a, yeah, you got it.
You're good, Justin. Go
You
ahead.
got it.
I was gonna say to kind of segue away from that, as your baseball career ended and you started to essentially start your life beyond your sport. When did you start realizing that, baseball is not my, you know, essentially what I can do for the next 15 years, and now I have to start preparing myself for the next, chapter of my life?
Yeah, so I turned 30. I turned 30, my back instantly hurt. I'm like, what the heck happened? Like I used to just be able to get out of bed and everything felt great. Things started hurting a little bit more. Um, I got a little like when I was with the Pirates in 23, I was in AAA. I was getting burnt out. My back was hurting, my hip was hurting, and nothing, like literally nothing felt good. Like throwing hurt. Um, and eventually I just burnt out and I was like, holy moly, I'm gonna be honest, I did nothing to prepare for life after baseball. I'm like, I'm gonna do this for forever. Um, and just being so burnt out, I was like, all right, well, after 23, I'm like, I'm done with baseball. I'm not going back. I'm gonna try and get a job. And um, because I didn't take those steps and kind of try to plan for the future, I was like, I guess I always assumed I'd be a coach. But you'd be surprised how many coaches tell you, dude, don't do this. This is a bad idea. I was like, I'm gonna coach. And like, no, don't do it. Because it takes away from your family. If you have kids, shout out to the coaches of the kids that are just sacrificing time with their family to go coach. Because um, you don't really notice it when you're playing, but once that time comes, you realize how much time they're away from their family. Um, so I didn't do any prep work. I just sent out a bunch of like resumes and stuff like that, thinking I'd land something, and didn't get anything, and ended up my family's heavily involved in law enforcement, and so yeah, let's just join the family business, I guess, and be a deputy.
Yeah, how was that experience working in a jail? Pretty different from pitching in the MLB.
Yeah, it's one day you're pitching the big leagues, the next you're working behind a desk in jail, and it's a talking to the cream of the crop of the world. Um,
That's funny.
it's a honestly, I love that job. I love the people I worked with. That it didn't every day didn't feel like work. Every day something new was going to happen. You didn't know what it was. Someone was going to say something ridiculous, and I truly didn't feel like I was working, even though like you are in jail. But you just learn how to communicate with people and stuff like that. I enjoyed my experience. I'd go back. I would have gone back this time around, but I wanted something that would help me more with my family life and just have to give me more hours because that's also another huge sacrifice.
Yeah.
And I want to, so we found you because you're a big player advocate for life after sports as well,
Hmm.
because you just elaborated on like what you had to go through. We're building a platform called the Second Half Network that essentially is preparing these student athletes for life after sports and the whole idea that the game's going to end for you eventually. What
Hmm.
do you think that benefit brings to universities that these student athletes will have access to mentors and possible internships later down the road, which will set them up once they graduate from playing their sport?
Yeah, I mean it's huge. It's game changing because like you don't really know what you want to do. Like for the most part, when you're playing a sport, I think most people, especially if you go D1, you think you're just going to go pro. So you don't really plan for life after sports because you think the sport's going to keep going. And if you think otherwise, you think you're failing by putting something else in your brain, thinking, I'm going to plan for life after in case this doesn't happen. Well, when you're super competitive, there is no just in case. It's more when this happens, when you go pro. But like, it's super important to start planning for life afterwards because, only 1% of college athletes get to go pro, depending on the sport they play. And, the prep work, the mentorship, having the conversations, making connections, gaining certifications and skills that can help you develop and grow into that transition just when that day does come. And hopefully they do get to go pro. But if they don't, then, at least you have the connections and the foundation to make that an easier transition.
Yeah. And then is there any piece of advice you wish you would have gotten in college trying to figure out what to do after sports?
I mean, for me, it would have just been continue to build relationships beyond just the sport itself. Like I loved hanging out with my team and the baseball guys and just being one of the guys, hanging out on a Friday night and Saturday, whatever. But the connections you make outside of the sport that you're playing, I think would for me would have been not even just within the athletic community, just overall the whole entire school, just showing up to a couple events or networking my way out there, something like that. That's probably would have been something that I think I could have benefited from.
Yeah.
And you would know firsthand because you played at the highest level of professional baseball. How does that competitiveness actually translate to your daily job? And also, like, what were ways that you were able to rechannel that competitiveness that you had on the field to just your daily life?
Yeah, I mean it's really just about being able to show up every day. You're not always like not every day, right now my job's to make phone calls. Um, and not every day I'm gonna have my best phone calls. Just like baseball, not every day I'm gonna have my best stuff. But it's more about finding a way to compete when you don't have your best stuff. And it's the same goes for this job. All right, well, I'm not making my best phone calls today, but what are ways I can compete and still be productive and show up and get some results for the team. And it's really just about showing up with an attitude ready to go every day. Um, yeah, I think that's the best way to put that.
Yeah. And as you like throughout your career, like, what were some things that you took pride in, whether it was like your discipline, your routine, your system you had in place to get to the major leagues? Because nowadays you see all these, things on social media of like you have to do
Hmm.
X amount of things, like go to perfect games and do all this stuff that they
Hmm.
promote. When in your case, you just wanted to go play baseball at the next level and also build relationships. So, like, what's your biggest takeaway from that, and also any advice you can give to people like also pursuing that path?
I mean, yeah, I mean, as I said earlier, like just taking it one day at a time, being where your feet are is super important. It's really like because you don't want to think too far ahead and you can't think in the past. You just got to be right where you're at in that moment. Um, but also like having a process to what you're doing, and you can't take everything a coach says and as gold, right? You're gonna learn one thing from one coach and run with that, and then learn one thing from another coach and run with that, and just being open and coachable, but also developing it in your own way. that makes sense for you and that's working for you. And eventually you just piece together like a bunch of like things that you've learned over the past. And even that's the teammates around you as well. Um, and you end up with this nice foundation of like, actually, I warm up my hips this way, I warm up my T-spine this way. These are the med ball drills I do. These ones work for me. Eventually, you have like this really long list of things that end up becoming your routine because they've worked for you. They make you feel good. They allow you to show up every day, and they allow you to show up every day while competing at the same time. Um, and it's literally just about being open and willing to learn and okay with failure because not everything you try is going to work. Not everything you do is going to be the perfect thing or the like this is the answer to all my problems. You really have to get good at 100 different things, and eventually those 100 things fall into place and just kind of trust in the process and showing up.
Yeah, and like you were around some of the best talented players, like you said, the DeGrom. Like, what do
Mhm.
you think separated them, from every other major league player, like that you notice at least?
I'm gonna be honest, DeGrom's the first person that ever made me feel like I didn't belong on a field. Like I watched him throw, I think it was my second day in the big leagues. It was the second time, the first time I got to watch him throw. I'm like, why am I here? This guy's
Yeah.
incredible. He just gets out of bed and throws 98. But like then you see like someone that I really looked up to when I was with the Mets was Seth Lugo.
Yep.
Um, and just he had a very good like process and routine, and his mindset was sharp. Took um, he took a scouting report seriously, and he knew what he wanted to do before the game even started. Before any at bat started, he already knew what he wanted to do. And then also I was very fortunate to have like Jerry Blevins be like my lefty specialist mentor and just teach me how to read scouting reports and teach me how to like, hey, your job's to get this lefty out. These are the ways that we've had success in the past. These are some holes these guys have. Um, but just watching the overall routines of certain people and why they do things. But at the end of the day, what separated those people from like people that don't quite make it there was when the lights turned on, you know, they were able to compete every single time. And you knew what you were going to get when they came out there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean that's insane.
And like, how important was it for you to learn from those type of people? I mean, you're all on the same team, but you're all striving to get innings, you're all striving to get pitches,
Mhm.
you're all competing, but you can still help each other out and learn from each other.
And learning and growing never stops. Like,
Yeah.
you don't just settle where you're at. You're always gonna, when you're like at that level and that competitive, you're never like that switch never turns off where you're looking to like learn something new. You're always looking to learn something. You're always looking to grow. Yes, you have your foundation, your core principles, and like your processes, but at the end of the day, everyone's open to learning and trying something new. Um, but when push comes to shove, you have your foundation to fall back into. Um, I think that just being open to learning and coachable is probably the key part to all that.
And my final question is if you had any like advice for, that freshman that's coming in this fall to a certain university, or whether it's a new pitcher joining the major league, like what advice do you have for them to obviously get in a result that you did was, play the highest level that you could in your given sport.
Yeah, I mean, just keep your head down. You got to show up. It's literally about showing up every day and putting in quality work. It can be as simple as that. Um, because if you show up every day, put in quality work every single day, more often than not, things are going to fall into place. Um, the people that don't tend to make it as far are the ones that are, they show up most days, but then they have like Thursday and Friday off. Like, well, if you take advantage of Thursday and Friday when everyone else shows up Monday through Wednesday, but you're showing up that Monday through Friday, like that's 2 extra days. Take that over a year. And you're gaining like 2 extra months on people or an extra month of work that people didn't get because you took it seriously. But just keep your head on your shoulders, stay where your feet are, and eventually things will fall into place.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
thank you for getting on this podcast.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys having me, man. This is great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no problem.
I mean, I got one more question if
Oh
that's
yeah,
okay.
yeah, you're
Yes,
good.
sir.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
Yeah.
do
no,
it.
I mean, the college landscape is completely different than from when you were in college right now with
Hmm.
transfer portal, NIL. Everyone's leaving colleges after 1 year, maybe two. It's hard
Hmm.
to really make a connection and make a network at a certain school. And do you think that is kind of affecting these players and these people with their lives after college?
To a certain extent, but I don't know if that's like everybody. Like you just see like the big ones, like the big names that are like leaving, or you'll see
Yeah.
someone that didn't play that's leaving. And I mean, a lot of it's money and incentives, like, oh, I got a bigger NIL to go here. Um, but I don't know if you can say that for everybody that's in it. It's just usually like the bigger names or the names at the bottom. But I think like that middle ground is still kind of staying loyal to where they're at.
Yeah.
It's just not as I don't want to say if loyalty is a driving factor, but like you just don't see as many people staying as they used to.
Yeah.
And that just kind of is what it is. But you can still make connections and still like, it takes nothing to be a good teammate and a good person. And yeah,
Yeah.
you left the school. That's a decision for yourself. But like, you can still like, I still have friends I talk to from the Pirates, and I haven't played with them in years.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so you can still maintain those connections and those relationships as long as you're a good teammate all around.
Yeah.
Yeah. So once again, thank you for joining this podcast, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you guys. I
Yeah.
appreciate
Thank
appreciate
you
you
so
guys having
much.
me.